session for working professionals to talk about our postgraduate programs, and we'll discuss in detail about the social sector. Give us a couple of seconds till everyone joins in and we start taking the questions. Let me also set up the YouTube live event so that I can start taking the questions. Okay. So if you are watching us, you should be, if you could type on that say something window, then we would know that there are viewers online. Good evening. Thank you, Subhash. So if you could let us know whether the video is okay, audio is okay, we will then start with our session. Okay, so Giri, maybe you want to come sit a bit closer, or we will go a bit backward so that you are all of us are in the frame.
I think Subhash can let us.
Subhash, is the audio clear? You're able to see us? Okay, I think we'll start here. Yeah. So I have here with me Radhika and Giri. So they look very happy. Yeah. So probably because they've just completed their first semester classes yesterday, and then 1 month break starts today.
Yes,
that's right. So thank you both. Thank you very much for taking the time out on a pleasant Saturday evening here at Bangalore. The second year students are, what I call them, the graduating batch. They are doing their field project in different parts of the country. So they are back next month. We will feature them also. Okay. So last year, that is in 2015, both Giri and Radhika were working.
Yes.
Right? And their Radhika she's a trained dentist. Right? Giri was part of a captive IT firm. And then July 2016, they've joined Azim Premji University. So they will also share their experiences, take your question and answer your queries. I'm Rajgopal. I work here on the admissions team, and I'll attempt to anchor the conversation for the next 45 minutes to 1 hour. So questions are welcome till the questions come in. Those who are new to this platform of YouTube live, you can absolutely definitely watch us, hear us, but we won't be able to see you, but you could ask us questions. So there is a chat window which says say something, but I mean don't say something, but do ask questions that you have. Even a hello is fine, so we would know that people are watching. If there is any technical issues, if you want us to be speaking a bit louder, do let us know, right? So this is how we will structure the next 45 minutes. So I said this is a session for working professionals. This is not a program specific session. We're not going to the details about our education or development or the public policy governance program today. We have our faculty members lined up in the next upcoming weeks. Next Friday, in fact, Professor Ankur Madan will be talking about education program, and then Professor Narayana on the policy and governance, and then development will come, right? Thank you, Narayan. Good to see that you are watching us. So this is not a program specific session. So this is for the working professionals. Let us explore this sector called social sector, right? And we will discuss the competencies and the capabilities and the perspectives required to work in the sector. Is that fine? So they could be, when I say working professionals, if you're asking questions, you could be either somebody who's working in the sector, or somebody who is working in a different sector who want to come. It will help if when you're asking a question to mention that also. That will help us frame our answer in a better way. Is that right? So let's see. When I say career path in the social sector, I'm reminded of something because I do go to different colleges and institutions, and I think many of them don't even know that there exists a career path in the social sector, right? It's definitely, they talk about government jobs, they'll talk about the private jobs. So when they talk, when I say about the NGO sector or the development sector,
yeah,
I have to take time to explain to that. So probably I'll start with, before the questions coming in, I'll start asking Giri,
sure,
as to you are the world of IT,
yes,
handling data and coding, and you are doing a agile.
Yeah, that was the latest change. That was the buzzword in the industry.
Right,
so
right.
we were doing everything waterfall.
Yeah.
But in the last year of my work in the captive, we changed to an agile mode of delivering software. So it was both project management and a little bit of people management that I was involved in.
Okay.
And with the experience that I got in before in quality assurance and test, I was in a position to gather the requirement, analyze it, explain the requirement to the developers, and then see through to the phase where it was getting delivered to the testing.
Fantastic.
And then into the production.
So when did this idea of changing your sector, did it evolve over a couple of weeks or months or years?
I would say it evolved over years.
Okay.
I was very happy doing what I was doing in the initial years.
Perfect.
The money that was coming in, the kind of opportunities that I was being shown were exciting. But after a point of time, something started to happen where something started to ask within myself, how long can you be doing the same thing? And after about 6 years of doing the same thing, that's when the question popped up. And then I started asking myself, so what else if not this? And
right.
I was doing a little bit of mentoring to the new joinees in my company, and they were giving me feedback that we like what we hear from you, you articulate things well. So, and on the other side, when I meet children in the family, I was getting a pinch telling that this is not really what we want them to become. Whatever they are learning is not actually the right thing. So I was trying to connect both of those things, and that's where education popped up.
Right.
I would be honest in telling that even today, I don't know what exactly I would contribute.
Right.
But I must say that the last 6 months have definitely given me the right path in doing something positive towards education.
Excellent. So it was more of a conscious choice that you made, that you wanted to move from what you were doing and then contribute towards education sector. But the opportunities, what lies ahead, was not very clear. It will probably evolve in the next couple of months. Definitely it will evolve. Okay. So thank you for people who are joining. I can see Subhash, Narayan, Hafiz, working as a teacher. Excellent. If you have questions, keep asking questions. Till then, I have many things to ask both of them. Right? It's been a hectic semester one for them. So, Radhika, you are a trained dentist, right? You did BDS and then you were practicing. So, I look at it. You were already in the sector, the social sector, trying to do a service for people. So, what are you trying to look at? And you have chosen the M.Ed development program. You could just tell us something. Maybe a bit louder. Again, sitting a bit far away. Yeah.
I have chosen M.A. development because I want to work in public health sector, and this is something that I feel that will give a more deeper meaning to what I do. I was working in a clinic, I had my own setup, but then it was not giving me as much happiness as I would have liked to do. My work would have, I would have liked it to give. But then here I'm looking at it because in public sector I feel that there is a need not just for doctors and nurses, but other professionals who can manage it well. And just talk, when I heard about malnutrition, we hear about so many other health problems that our country is facing, and just saying that about worrying about it, but I would like to do something about it. So I thought just sitting in a clinic, it won't help. I need to do something more about it.
Fantastic. So is it right to say that what probably attracted you within the development program here was the public health, health
yes.
specialization.
Yes.
That's nice. So I'll take, I think Subhash, you're asking a question, पढ़ाई के साथ सिविल सर्विस की प्रिपरेशन कर सकते हैं, वहाँ कोई इस तरह की तैयारी की व्यवस्था है? So my Hindi isn't that great, but I of course I do understand what you're asking. See, this is not a place to prepare for IAS, right? That's not what we're trying to do. You will, if at all you aspire to become an IAS officer, you will have to prepare separately.
Yes.
Right. This will not. I mean, I'm talking in general about all the programs. That's a classic question that we get asked for people who make a choice for the public policy and governance program, telling, you know, will this help me clear IAS? No, it will not. I mean, the idea is not to. It will not help you. You will have to learn separately. But having said that, if you happen to clear the IAS examination, you will definitely become a good bureaucrat.
Yeah.
Right? I can guarantee that. I mean, whichever you do, so that's the training that you will get here in terms of reading, thinking for yourself, and writing. Right? So that's Subhash, your question. Jalal, before we get, I think this is very interesting.
Yes.
What you both said has got somebody who you were associated with the sector in one way, but you were troubled by seeing the other aspects of development not reaching the needy, right? And you were troubled by the way children are getting educated, and you were seeing that playing in your workplace.
Yes.
Right? The way we would work in a team, it's strange. We have to do team building exercise in an organization which we should have taught them in the
should have been natural,
right? Should have been natural, right? Okay. So I'll take the questions before we get back into your. I want to hear about your field experiences. Right?
Sure.
And then we'll come back to the classroom experiences. Right. Okay. Hafiz, your question. I'm interested to teach rural students. Can APU help me? See, the thing is, are you talking about? You have to ask a question much more broadly. Are you asking that you want to come and do a program here and then work in rural India, or do you want to do it now by joining us? So, question, you may have to rephrase that, Hafiz. Right? It's not clear. But if you're asking after the MA education program, definitely it's not a teacher preparatory program as such. It's much more. It's beyond that. It's much more broad based. You can work in NGOs which are involved in teaching rural students or the underprivileged districts in the country. Yes, there are plenty. Yes, that's possible, Jala, right? But you can ask me again if it's not clear. Please do ask me that question. Gauri, I'll take your question next. How do one with experience of a working professional have an edge over others when it comes to enroll in APU? We were in fact discussing this just before this, right? And as to a couple of things that comes into my mind. One is at the interview stage, for the written test, absolutely all of you have to go through. All, when I say all, respective of your educational background or work experience, or where you come from, what have you done before, you all have to appear for the common entrance test. But when it comes to interview for people with working experience, they have a natural edge. Let me say that, right? They have a natural edge. One thing, because you are making a conscious choice of coming to enroll for a postgraduate program. So that means you see value in a PG program, unlike others. Right? That's number one. And then when the classroom interaction starts happening, right? Here the classrooms are not a one way where the faculty would come and stand and give you gyan and then it goes out. It's all about interactions. So before I go to the placement part, do you want to talk about that because you would bring in not just what your domain expertise, what you have learned, but multiple things in into the classroom discussion, right? Yeah. So Gauri, you're still in your question.
So I would answer Gauri's question by the fact that how I experienced my getting into APU. So as Rajgopan has already clarified, once you clear the entrance test, which is common for everyone, in the interview, the focus was on trying to find out why we really want to get here. So the kind of thoughtful answers and the kind of insight you get by working in some place is not something that you'd give out of a book. So that is the edge you carry for getting into APU. And once you get into APU in the classrooms, the amount of value that you can cite by citing your own experiences when something is getting discussed is not something that anybody who has just come out of a college or read a book can get into a classroom. And the debates that happen over that, because you will not be the only one with that perspective. You will have other people who have done similar things, but with a different perspective. So that is where the real learning is happening in the classroom.
Fantastic. And then Gauri, to wrap it up, what you said in terms of edge, clearly when it comes to placements, also we have seen you are at a slightly higher pedestal when you're discussing. You have a better ability to articulate what you have done before. You come with better team handling skills, right? So that's how. If you need to, I don't want to be talking about this program by telling that talking about placements.
Yes.
But yes, we have seen that also happening, because the employer does value what I say the quality of the program, what you go through here for 2 years. That blended with your previous experience in whatever sector. They do value when it comes to placement. In terms of, it could be not just in terms of better compensation, it's mostly in the role that they would give you. So that's hopefully that answers the question, Gauri. Subhash, I'm taking question. Sorry, I thought I introduced myself. My name is Rajgopal. I work in team admissions. Right, my number, you call the toll-free number, and then somebody would put you in touch with me Monday to Friday between 9 to 5 p.m. Right? Brahas Tiwari, I'll take your question. What is an applicant expected to know? See, the starting point, what you should do is, we have the last year question papers uploaded there on the website. So go to the section admissions, go to section download. There are question papers. So number 1, English comprehension. You should be able to read an English passage. Not very easy, some would be very easy. And then there will be questions around that. 20 questions on your logical and ability. I'm not calling it too much of quantitative ability, but a little bit of logical ability. The second 20 questions. The largest number of questions will be the 50 questions around current affairs, what you call general and social awareness. So newspaper knowledge and a little bit of, I don't want to call it history. No memory game. No dates and all of that. We'll try we try to ask questions as when did the first Battle of Panipat or second Battle of Panipat. Whatever can be downloaded, dates can be downloaded from the internet. So we're not going to ask you those questions, right? Okay. Brihas, hopefully that answers. But take a look at the question papers. You'll see how difficult or maybe probably how easy the entrance test is. It's more of a. I think I said this. I don't want to be repeating it. It's more of a selection test. Right? It's not a speed test.
Yes.
Right. We would like to interview as many as possible. Yeah, interview is going to be. That's where we try to spend more time. Right. We're trying to test we're not testing your subject knowledge at all. You could be engineer, or could be an arts graduate, or a science, or a commerce, or a BSW, BPharm, or a BDS, right? So we would not try to test that knowledge. It's right. Okay, let me take the questions one by one. My questions for you still remains.
Fine.
Right, but I think
those are more
important. They have been waiting there, right? I'll read Prabandhu. Passion would not. I'm reading the question because people, if somebody is watching this video later, they should know what question we are answering. Passion would not feed anyone at the end of the day. We need a sound income to earn our livings. Though I'm passionate to work in development sector, can Azim Premji to help in earning a sound income? Prabandhu, I don't know when you join. That's a good question. I get asked that question multiple times when I go to colleges and other places to talk. See, there is a career path in the social sector, right? or the development sector, what you want to call it. We call it education sector development. There is a career path, right? There are organizations which goes to campuses around the country and recruits them, right? And they grow within the same organization. But that's not known to many.
Yes.
And they're silently doing it. I mean, there's a lot of humility in the work that is happening, right? And without giving or without filling your stomach first, you can't go and help others.
True.
Right? So can Azim Premji University help in earning a sound income? No, I don't have to help you. The jobs will come after you. Right? The organization would come here. We have a very active placement cell which will help you, but you have to do that work. You have to. Passion is not enough, but I would say passion is not enough. You need to have that ability to read, think, imagine, and write. Okay.
Absolutely.
Prabandhu, you can ask me if that didn't answer the question, but the quick answer is I don't have to. We are only helping you to complete the program. The jobs are out there. I can tell you websites if you want to go and see. I spotted a new one this afternoon. It's called In Dev Jobs. I'm not promoting that site by any means, but to see the kind of opportunities available, the roles available, just like any other, an IT role as a team lead or a programmer or a senior manager or a manager or a Java specialist or what it's now it's cloud computing or mobile app thing. There are specific roles there on that. So right. Thank you, Gaurish. I'll go to the next question. Shreya, I'd like to know a bit about the elective of school leadership. Interesting. See, Shreya, I don't know when you joined. I said this is not a program-specific session. We're going to have a MA Education program-specific session next Friday, and then the week after on policy and governance. So 16, 23, and 30th. So mark your calendars. We'll send out an email. We would explain that in detail. But school leadership, it's actually school organization, leadership and management, not the other way. What kind of roles open up for people who take up this as an elective? Multiple. So there are NGOs. Each NGO would be working in the education sector, but they might have chosen a particular area to work. Right? So the organization which I'm involved in, Azim Premji Foundation, is working with the teacher. Right? So teacher professional development could be the area that we are trying to work on. Right? But there could be organizations which would like to work with school head teachers or leaders in the government functionary like a BE or a DEO. Right? So such organizations would value that you are coming with that kind of. What is that specialization about? We will go in detail later. But it's very interesting that you asked the roles open up for that elective. I would say we have tried to put as many information as possible on the website. Shreya, I'm answering Shreya's question. Mm-hmm. Go to MA Education Program section, look for specialization, look for SOLM, which is school organization, and it will have the kind of roles that will open up, right? I'll take Harish's question next. You both do pitch in.
Yes, sure.
Whenever you need to. Teacher might be privileged within a family of institutional bodies that have knowledge-related development. Then how come SCET be viable for picking right candidate for the right program? Where CET? So that's Harish. That's a good question. Unfortunately, this is an English language-based program, right? Yeah. It is. We have no other way to. At least now to deliver the content in other languages, like we would love to do it in Kannada or in Hindi, right? But that's not possible. That's not possible now. So what the idea of the test is, it's to see your basic English capability, right? That's what the comprehension is going to do. Second, academically, this is a rigorous program. Right? It is a challenging program where you have to read. So without an entrance test, we will not be able to. I'm not telling that's the best way. Right? I'm nowhere trying to argue that's the best way to select, but that's the way we're going to do it. What I said, I don't know whether you heard me in the beginning. It's not a speed test. We're not trying to put you in a pressure environment and tell that 90 minutes and finish 120 questions, or giving you a tough data analysis or diagrams to interpret, and then, right? Okay, Harish, I'll move to the next question. Brihas, perfect. Hafiz, according to my teaching ability, how would, excellent, that's a good question. See, Hafiz's question is asking, he would like, if he's coming with a teaching experience, how this program is going to really help them. Number one is, in the classroom discussion, is going to bring in a lot of his lived experiences as a teacher, right? Most of the people who are fresh out of college may not have that idea, and then you don't have to necessarily work as a teacher after the MA education program. There are multiple roles that you would do. You may join an NGO which is involved, which are training teachers. Right? You could choose to become a curriculum designer. You could be implementing a government's program, right, like Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan or a CCE if needs to be implemented. You come up with the idea of your teaching experience, and then plus this program will equip you to handle. That's a couple of things that coming. I can go on. That's my pet topic. Roles in education. What all could you do that beyond a teacher's role? That's the sad part. Everybody thinks education system ko theek karna hai. Teacher mein kuch kharabi hai. Chalo, let us go and fix the teacher, right? But to me, teacher is the final stakeholder who's delivering the content prepared by somebody else. Right? It comes from the policy at the national level, and then there is a national curricular framework.
Yes.
States might have their own curricular frameworks. Somebody would have written the textbook. That's what he or she is trying to deliver in a classroom. But we need somebody who looks at that. We need somebody who completely can look at changing the examination system. I still don't know why we have an exam end of the term.
Yeah.
So multiple roles, Hafiz. A lot of questions coming in. Let's just go into the next. Hopefully that answers. What are the scopes for doing MA in education? Kumar, Navita. I think probably you're trying to ask what kind of roles you will do. I think that's what I was trying to explain. Right? It's not a teacher preparatory program. Multiple depending on if your interest is in what we call curricular material.
Yeah.
You could become a curricular designer. Say, I want to make history classes interesting in 7th standard. Let's say, right? What kind of curricular materials are required? Right? It's not only practicals are not only for physics or chemistry. So multiple. I will take your question next Friday when we have Ankur. You should better hear it from the expert.
Yeah.
She would tell you the opportunities available after MA education in one word: numerous, right? You choose. Right, great. Brihas, MA education different from MED? That's a good question, right? Brihas, thanks for asking that question. I didn't. This again will come Friday, but anyway. But I think we should clarify that upfront. So M.Ed is a post-graduation degree for people who have done B.Ed, right? And the B.Ed is a teacher preparatory program. Clearly, to teach in a school, the law of the land requires that you have a B.Ed degree, right? After 5th, 6th, right? Primary education you can do with the D.Ed.
Yes.
M.Ed is people who will train the B.Ed teachers, right? And I mean B.Ed you have to choose a pedagogy subject, right? What you will focus on. It could be physics, mathematics, social science. So M.Ed will also be on that, right? And you could become for some specific roles like a diet principal, dietist, district institute for education and training. It may require you to have an M.Ed qualification. This is different. This is MA education is different in that sense that we are not only focusing on the teacher. We are trying to look at education as a whole, as a system, right? Trying to understand answers to questions like, what are the aims of education? How does it matter that if me as a person is born in a different state, to a different family, in a different gender and a different caste, I would have become a completely different individual, right? How is that? Why is that? Right? It's much more broader. It's very different. Again, next Friday, MA Education program. I'm glad that I've lined up all the faculty members. I knew this question would come up. So next Friday, 4 to 5, Ankur Madan will be talking about it. Great. Shivaramakrishnan Kollur, is CLAT necessary after giving AP? No, CLAT is not necessary at all. So, if you're appearing for the 12th January entrance test, you don't have to appear for CLAT. So that's the first admissions. If you miss that, then you will have one more window for LLM. We will have that intake through CLAT, right? So that's the quick answer, Shivaramakrishna. Right, Brihastivari, they're asking of something. I'll take Shivani's question. I come from animation industry and I would like to continue with my animation, use it in education sector. How will it work? Right. So this I get. I mean, why animation? I mean, anything, right? This question I get always asked by science students, right? I mean, how do I fuse it in here? Right? I'll give my point. Then maybe you can bring in your point. I know Giri, you're waiting to answer that question. Shivani, I'll give you one thing. I'll say that students are not finding, say, geography interesting at all in the class, right? In what is happening in the classrooms today, it's not the teacher needs to know the content. Even if they don't know, okay, fine, either other say we may not remember everything what we have learned in school. We can learn that, okay, this is Australia has got these 4 places, or whatever, India has got this thing. Now they should know what we call, this is the jargon in the education field, is say the pedagogy of it. Yes. How do I make this interesting? How do I now present this into a classroom, right? That's important. So maybe you will say, let us try animation as a pedagogic tool to make social sciences interesting in a classroom. Right? So this is a classic case where you know education, you know ideas of pedagogy. You're now clubbing that with your inputs of animation. Giri, do you want to add that?
Yeah, I think you hinted on geography, so I would like to say a classroom discussion on how geography is taught and why it is not interesting for children.
Okay.
So what the paper actually dealt in with, geography is taught in a certain way for years and years, and we are not in a position to understand why are we learning that. Mm-hmm. So we know that what is the capital of something, what's the monument there, and there is no connection between history and geography at all. Mm-hmm. So if animation, I think visual mode would be a better way and definitely a more impactful way in teaching something. Mm-hmm. So if, as she says, if she can combine her animation knowledge with the knowledge that she gets in an education program to deliver a subject in a way that it appeals to a student, I think it would make wonders in making subjects which are not at all interesting today to be a subject which is most wanted for the next generation.
Yeah. Shivani, I should thank you. I think that's a good point, Shivani. But I should also tell you that, see, it's we don't want to be making it sound very colorful. It's only about teaching them geography, create animation, and they will understand everything. This program is also about trying to understand why do we have this deep inequities in the country when it comes to education. Why do we see that there are somebody in 8th standard is still not being able to read a 5th standard mathematics or read 5th standard English? Or why is the gross enrollment ratio only 23% in the country in higher education?
Yes.
Why are there so many dropouts happening in 10th standard or in 8th standard or even before that, and all that dropouts happening from one particular socio-economic class of people, right? So it's much more.
Yes.
The education program deals with all that, or the development also in that sense, right? So I think we should be explaining that also.
Very true. I think I will have to cite an example that we saw during our immersions, where we were conscious with the fact that there were dropouts happening at various grades, and we were also conscious of the fact that there is a gender-based dropout happening. So when we went to the immersion, we were thinking that we will go with the mindset that let's go and popularize why they should be sending children to school. But when we went to Raichur, we found out that girls can't come to school because there are no toilets in school, which is completely not something which was related to education at all. So this kind of awareness comes when we get into the field, when we talk to people who are experiencing reality, and then we come back to the classroom and then discuss on how can we address that.
Perfect. Shivani, hope that answers your question. Sanjeev, right? Have you had senior students say over 40 in the past and they fit in well in the program? Good question. So see, we don't have an age limit, right? In this program. In fact, I was in the committee last year. We were in fact discussing this, right? And there were some of us who felt that we should have, and then some of others who said no, we shouldn't have. So the argument is somebody at 40, what they tend to forget is you have still around 20-25 years of your career life left, right? You can. We have plenty. So I think probably I'll ask that question to
I would like to answer
as to when you made that choice to you could have continued with your being a dentist, having a clinic.
Yes.
But then you took a path of doing an M.Ed development program here because you said you want to engage in much more to understand what impacts human development and societal development, right?
So when I was thinking
a bit
about
louder,
this,
maybe I think.
When I was thinking about this program, even I had these apprehensions. What Sanjeev Rao was speaking about, that how will I fit in well in the program? But I can assure you that the university provides a very great environment where it becomes very easy to fit in. There's a lot of help available. The faculty is very cooperative, and it happens with a lot of discussions in class. The way of learning is very different than what we studied in the regular colleges. So fitting in, it of course depends on the person, but the university provides a great environment here to. It doesn't make it obvious that you're coming back after so many years of studies, and how will it is just as good as any other student. So that I have not faced any problem fitting into the program, into the university, the working, not at all. I also had these apprehensions, but they've been taken care of because the kind of environment that is there.
Thank you. Thanks, Radhika. Sanjeev, hope that answers, right? It's a good question, and I'll be getting back to university after, and if I make it answer the question, absolutely. Of course, Sanjeev, do come prepared to read a lot, right? I think what we're trying to do here is people come with excellent idea of how to handle data, interpret, or to make good nice pie charts, but you need a lot of content. You need a lot of content idea, perspectives, a little bit of history, right? To make meaning out of that pie chart, right? So become prepared, right? I'll take. I think that's exactly the same question, Radhika, what Mahesh Shivaramakrishnan was talking about MA.
She's Kripa.
MA. Sorry, Kripa, is it?
Yeah. She's. This is Kripa.
Mrs. Kripa, yeah, sure. MA, how many hours do we need to mandatorily put in? Right, because it's flexible. See, the thing is, it's quickly, Kripa, this is a full-time program, right? This is a full 2-year full-time program. But the way it will be structured is, you will have around 16 hours of classes in a week. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is a practicum day, and Thursday and Friday. So depending on the credit. So if it's a 72 credit program, so we try to divide it into 18 credits every semester. Some semester it could be 16, some could be 20, but 16 credit in a semester means 16 hours.
Yes.
So in the first semester we were lucky, we had only 4 hours in the morning and afternoons free. That may not be the case in the second semester, right? So that's the thing. So you have to, the hours that you have to put, that is your call. So here definitely 4 hours. But I would, what's your take? The thing is, you have to read and come for the classes.
Yes.
So the time is spent not in class, but you'll have to spend outside the class preparing for the class and then going back and reading. Maybe you can add that.
Yeah, I think what I realized as I was going through my first semester was if there is a 1 hour lecture, then probably you'll have to put 2 more hours, one before and one after, to understand the entirety of what is being taught. So for every hour of lecture, 2 more hours of your personal interest is what is needed.
Right.
If we have to give it in terms of numbers.
Perfect. Okay. So it's like it's like a work week.
Yeah.
Right? We've almost put in 8 to 9 hours, even if you were at office.
Yes.
So yeah, as a mother of 2 kids, I think I would be. I mean, even I am a mother of 2 kids, and it is difficult, but it is not impossible. It takes time. It takes time to read and do things, but it is not impossible. It is. You can do it.
My one suggestion would be to choose the area which is close to your heart. So spend time in deciding what you want to do. Is it developer, or is it education, is it policy and governance, or maybe something else which is not here at all? And if you're passionate about that area, then everything else will fall in place.
Very much.
Is that right?
Definitely.
I would definitely agree on that.
So I can see a lot of questions coming in, and maybe you've not realized we have finished 40 minutes, right? So we have 20 more minutes to go, but we will try to answer all the questions, okay? Even if we have to stay for
that should be
five minutes.
That should be fine.
I'm taking the Saturday times, that's why I'm conscious. I'll go back to Kumari. Navita, my interest is in gender education, want to do research work in gender studies. See, the program here, whichever, if you take gender as a thing, it's not focused on gender as such, right? If you take development, also it's a broad-based development program. In that, if your interest is on looking at gender and livelihoods and how that plays in real life, you could do that. Right, you could do that. So, like for example, what she said, gender and education, there is an elective in the third semester. Gender and livelihoods is an elective in the development program, correct? But starting in the first semester itself, you want to focus on gender, that will not be possible here. Because we focus only on, we don't have a huge list of programs here. We are focusing on 3 themes, to say so. Education, development, public policy and governance. Of course, the law program is only for the law graduates, right? So within that, so one example that comes in was in the second year, I had a mentee who had interest in focusing on gender studies. So she chose electives related to that.
Yeah.
And in the 4th semester, you have an option of doing what we call an independent study. And she did an independent study on gender, right? But she had a faculty mentor to guide that, and that option was possible. Giri, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, one thing that I would like to add is even before we decide what our elective is, there is scope for understanding more on it during the first semester, and there is also a possibility of concentrating more on your interest during the second semester, where there is introduction to research. So you can pick your area of study and you can frame a question of your own on how you want to address that. So for her, I think that would be a first opportunity to focus on gender, where she frames her own question and then goes deep into that specific area with the support of a faculty. That's the greatest advantage you have in APU.
Yeah. Perfect. So let me see. I'll take Shivaramakrishna's question. Is there research opportunities at Azim Premji University after doing LLM there? Or you're asking, will we recruit you for research? I don't think so. I will have to get in touch with the LLM faculty members. I will and then answer you. Do drop us an email.
A very good question to ask during the LLM.
Yeah, we'll organize one for the LLM also. Research opportunities here or just outside? Definitely, this is the entire LLM program is a very field and research based program. It's not only an academic. It's not just a theoretical engagement. But here, will you have? I'm not sure. Outside, definitely, right? Aman, there are NGOs working in the field of education. He has given an organization's name is one of the kind where they make animated videos for children learning. See, that Aman, I get the point, but I mean, technology or whatever the animation, it cannot lead the learning. That's the stand I'm taking. Right? It can only enable. So who is going to? Can I teach concepts using videos? That's what we'll engage here. That is the answer we'll try to find out. Maybe you can. Or by the other argument telling them no, you cannot teach concepts using videos, right? So, but you need to, somebody should do research on that.
Yes.
You can't just talk in air telling ye karke dekho, wo karke dekho, let us remove this. So the engagement here would be that, right? Thank you, Sanjeev. I'll go to the next question. If I'm missing anything, just let me know. I'm not showing my nervousness, but this is the first time I'm using this format and trying to handle YouTube Live. Right. I'm a graduate with corporate exposure of 1.5 years. I've also got internship in the social science. Would this add value in installation place? Oh, nice. See, Arushi. I didn't mean to say that we don't want fresh graduates or people with. Yes, absolutely. It could be. I was in a discussion asking, looking at who would enjoy the program here more. So we were thinking, could be a fresh graduate, who's just out of college, but would have deeply engaged in activities like NSS or a community program close by. So why not? They will quickly come and able to relate, and they may find answers which they could not find in their undergraduate program. More than welcome. Please do. But again, I'm going to repeat that Arushi, that question that I said. Zero in on the program that you would want to do. Don't just apply for, say, program A because somebody else told you or because all your friends are applying. Right? Spend some time reading, trying to find answers to what is this education program all about. Why is this called a development program and not development studies or development management or rural development, like that, right? Why are the courses? When it comes to education, somebody asked me, why is your course not called education planning? Because it's not a planning program, it's right. Or why is it not called education studies? Right. Brihas, APU affiliated with any universities in India? See, we don't. When somebody calls themselves a university, they can. It's a degree granting institution, right? It doesn't have to be. We don't have to be affiliated with other universities. This is a university established by the Karnataka state by a Assembly Act of 2010, which is known as Azim Premji University Act. Right. So we do work with other universities abroad in that sense, but there is no student exchange program or anything like that. But it's a university by itself which can award degrees. Right. I'll take Shivani's question. Fellowship different from university courses. Fellowship gives you direct exposure to work in the field. So getting into university, how does it make a difference? Shivani, one answer: the program here will give you a degree. Right? You are a Master of Arts in Education or Development or whatever you choose, right? And that opens up multiple avenues. Right? It could be avenues of work. It could be avenues of working in a research institution. It could be avenues of going further academic engagement. A fellowship is different. That's the number one thing, right? But that's a good question which I wanted to. I've written it down somewhere, which I thought I would forget. Some of the fellowship programs, Azim Premji Foundation's fellowship program is only for postgraduates. Right? It's not for graduate, and also postgraduates or one with a professional degree. If you don't want to spend 2 months, 2 years, you want to get a flair of it, what it is all about. Yes, you should go for a fellowship program, and then see. But that's again focused on, you should see what Azim Premji Foundation is trying to do as an organization. Right? It's so you'll have to be involved in the teacher training workshops. You'll be organizing voluntary teacher forums. You'll be working in the teacher learning centers, which we have in different parts of the country. So if you get what I'm trying to say, it's all about teacher professional development. That's the broad idea, correct? But if you come here, probably you may be interested in a different area of school organization, or maybe you'll find that how do I now improve Anganwadis in the country? right? Why do I keep blaming only that primary school education is bad? Probably the issues in primary education, what we are facing in the public education system in the country, could be because they didn't go to an effective Anganwadi. I'm just making a statement here. Don't just. So your interest may change. So try to understand what Azim Premji Foundation is doing in terms of a fellowship. If you align with that work, go for it. Otherwise, if you want to explore, if you value that PG degree, which will open up multiple avenues, a university program, wherever, I'm not telling you at Azim Premji University, wherever. Right. So that's a quick answer, but if it's not enough, I'll be able to answer you more. Arishi, I'm interested in MA education. Great, that's great. If you made that choice, because I find it sometimes, I may be wrong. Some of them signing up for a program and then after coming here realizing probably this is not what I wanted. Right? If you made a choice, spend the time is good. So Mahesh Shivramakrishnan, that logged, helpful, great. Okay, thank you for what is the approach of APU in imparting knowledge? That's a broad question. It's probably let us do this. Let us try to. I'll try to answer Brihas Tiwari's question. Approach of APU in imparting knowledge, right? So one is let's talk about first your classroom experiences, right? Without worrying about that question. Maybe Radhika, a typical classroom here at Azim Premji University, right?
The most important thing is that we don't have any fixed books or anything. There's a lot of reading material which we get from different books, different journals. So it's see, my last 6 months experience has been that it is a very thoughtful selection of study material through all these ways. And the second thing that's most important is the interaction in class. We have, it is never a one-way process that only the professor or the teacher talking, but they always, it's an interactive process. A lot of inputs from the students or from the other side is also encouraged. In fact, that is the way we have classes, interaction, a lot of interaction happens. So it's people from diverse backgrounds, diverse experiences have their say. There are different perspectives that we talk about. So it is a great learning experience. It is not just a one-way process. That's what is very interesting.
Nice. So anything, Giri, that you would like to talk about?
I think she covered most of it, but the other point that I realized is the theory-practice connect we get through the program. So as Rajagopal already mentioned, it's a 4-day classroom and a 1-day practicum week. So whatever we learn through the theory, we can go and experience and observe. And the other point that is most different to other places where we studied before is reflective analysis. So we are given time to absorb what we hear, listen and experience and come out with a feeling of what we really understood out of it. So the reflection part of it brings out a lot of great learning in each person, and that is one of the most important things that I've realized in the last 6 months.
So the connections that we make.
So thank you. I think that those are great points that you made. Brihas, there is no university examination here at Azim Premji University, right? So when I say that, everybody is, when I say that, oh wow, great examination, right? When I say that, there is no end-term examination or the end of the semester one university-wide examination. We don't have that, right? The reason is we don't want to be waiting that long to be seeing when are you applying your ideas, right? The reason why you would have written response papers, end of the term you would have written term papers, and the faculty would have said that please write in your own ideas. That's what we want to see. We want to see, we don't want you to be writing somebody else's ideas. Well, that is there in the book. Right? What are your thoughts? How are you going to apply? How are you going to bring in different ideas from different readings? And that when a question is posed, how are you presenting it? That's exactly what they're trying to see. Correct? In that, what is happening is, and we were discussing in the morning, to fix the deep social issues in the country, there is no one formula.
Very, very
We
true.
never know what will work. What works in Karnataka may not work, or within Karnataka also, what works in Yadgir will not work in South Canara district.
Yeah.
Right? So we may need a different approach. So the local, so that's what we're trying to see. Are you applying yourself? Right? Because there's a lot of questions coming in, but two things I would like to say is the learning is not only in the classroom. We have colloquiums, we call it colloquiums. It's a seminar kind of a talk by different writers, authors, practitioners, researchers who would come and interact with you every Friday 2 to 3:30.
Yeah.
Right? But the idea is you gathering some insights from those talks. Right? A lot of student clubs, activities happening. I'm not sure how many of them are taking time. Like what I like is that kapi or charcha.
Yeah.
Right? Whenever I get time, I used to say sort of thing where students are inviting other people to come and share their ideas about social change. Right? That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really, really wonderful. So we are much more grounded. We know what's happening there out there, and then when you come back to the classroom, we can relate to what the faculty members are telling. Okay, so it's multiple approach, and then we see that we have students from 26 to 30 states here in the university, because we have to learn from each other. Right? Okay, chalo. Oh, a lot of questions. We have only 5 more minutes, but let's see what all questions we take, and then we will see. I had to ask you some questions. We should cover that, right? Sushant, I'm taking a question. After completing MA education, where can I work? What opportunity? So I think I answered. It may be slightly boring for people who are listening to this again. So broadly, let me categorize into three areas. Right. One I'm deliberately calling it a technical job of somebody who's involved in preparing curriculum material. To prepare curriculum material, you should really know the pedagogy of it.
Yeah.
Then only you can make a curriculum designer. That is one role I'm calling a technical. Or the second could be a managerial or a team lead kind of a role, where you have to implement a program that is designed by the NGO itself, or it could be a program which is a government's program that you're trying to implement, where you're doing slightly a detached kind of a role of planning. Designing will do very late in life, not you want to do it very early, or maybe implementing that program, or somebody evaluating it, how is it going, and then tweaking it. Third is jobs of research. On what basis will I make changes in the education curriculum? I should have evidence. It has to be based on some evidence that I make. So these are the three broad roles that you could do in terms of education. Multiple. It's not deliberately. I did not use the word a teacher at all. But some of them have chosen to spend time in the school also, may not be directly teaching, but probably helping the teachers, or they could be people who need special attention in terms of when with RT in place. Whereas if a school is trying to get students from disadvantaged backgrounds, now how do we? They may need some additional support. So right, okay, Sushant, it's there's a lot. Okay, there's plenty of roles available in the education sector. Thanks for asking. So if you see, I think Rajashri had written an article. Rajashri is a
faculty in education.
So she had written a nice article about careers in education. Right? If you send us an email, probably Sushant, I will share that with you. She wrote it for, I think, Deccan Herald some time back. It's there on the website, I know, because I read it very recently, and each time I read it, I find something new in there. Right. This broad-based question I want to get a glimpse of the classroom and the teacher's role. I think we answered that, right?
Yeah.
The classroom and the teacher's role. Teachers are facilitators, right? They're not going to enter in the classroom and telling that मेरे पास ज्ञान है, आप ले लो और बांट लो, right? So they're facilitators. I mean, I used to sit in some of the classrooms initially when I joined, and it's very, very interesting, It's more of discussions, and they asked. There was one. He asked a question. Inputs from all, and he wrote it down on the thing. And he said, if I had to write this, it would have taken me 3 days, because it was all inputs from you. 40 students sitting. We could do that in 15-30 minutes, right? So that's the role the teacher would play in the classroom, right? Okay, Subhash Yadav, some dots coming in. I'm so glad to hear the answer. Perfect. See, Kiran, I did say, right, the advantage of a working professional is, one is you're making a conscious choice. Right? And that way, we look at you as a matured person who wants to enter the social sector. So I look at it three ways. When you say working professional, Kiran, you need to give me some more details. Right? One is somebody who is already working in the sector, in the NGO sector, doing a generalist role, wanting to come here and focus on an area, say public health, or teacher professional development, or maybe livelihoods. Number one. Second, a working professional working in the department of, say, CSR, or a consulting organization which is giving consulting to government and other agencies, who wants to come and do this program here and go back to the same work.
Yeah.
Somebody who's working in we do get a lot of walk-ins, by the way, from working professionals, but and asking us just to find out more details about, is it the right place? They're making a change, right? And somebody from a funding organization coming in and asking, mostly, but they would come with an idea that, tell me about an M.Ed development program, right? Or somebody who wants to set up a social enterprise, they may come in. So first category I'm going back is somebody who's already working in the NGO sector, wanting to focus on an area. Second is people who are related in some way or the other, wanting to go back, do the program and go back to their existing work. Third is, this is where the large amount of work-ins that we get is working in a completely different sector, say manufacturing, media, or IT, who want to make a career changing from to social sector. So if you could tell me much more briefly as to where you fit in as a working professional, I can explain that more. Because if I just make an assumption that you are a IT professional or somebody who plays with data, that's very good, right? That's very good. But when you come here, that clubbed with your idea of education, or the domain of education, the perspectives.
Clarifying that she's an engineer from manufacturing sector.
Right. Then again I will ask, and whatever. So you come. If you're an engineer from the manufacturing sector, then that idea, and that within manufacturing also you should tell me where were you? Were you on the production shop floor, or were you handling sales. Or were you doing a customer service? So I don't have to answer at that point of time, but everything can be applied. Whatever you have gathered there can be applied in this sector. Right? It's the way I look at it. It is running a process end to end. You break down into different steps.
Yes.
But here we are dealing with real human beings. It's not another brick in the just in the tray that is falling out, right? Yeah. So it is very intense, much more intense, Kiran. The idea is, before you start intervening with the society, you need to have perspectives, you need to have competencies, capabilities, and ideas before you can go out. Right? So the advantage is you come up with much more maturity, and in the admission process there is weightage at the interview level. And we have also seen, I don't want to be luring you talking about placements, but we have seen it when it comes to placements also, where they value your previous experience. They may give you a slightly higher role, and not as a fresher. Okay, exactly 603. I don't know how many of you are watching this. Perhaps the entrance exam date is 12th January. Okay, so if you're seeing 2 days, please do send us where you see that, because we have an undergraduate program as well and a postgraduate program. But whatever you've seen, you just send us. 22nd January is the entrance test date. 12th January is the last day to apply. Right. 22nd January, Sunday is the last date. What could be the salaries like? Sri Danturthi, I have absolutely no idea how much of work experience you're coming in, but if you're talking about a starting salary, it will range anywhere between 25,000 to 30,000. Right? That's the average salary that a well-meaning NGO would give you. But there could be some grassroots organization which are really working, which may give you slightly lesser salaries. Right? You're working in a rural place, but they may give you lesser salaries. Or there could be organization which could see your work experience and could give you a higher salary. Okay, so it ranges. It ranges. So that's it. I think we should end the session now. I'll wait for MA education after 6 years of IT experience. So I said that. So I have no idea as to what you will what value you will take to that table during that selection process, right? So I would leave that to the recruiter but clearly it's not going to be, it definitely is not going to match what you would currently getting in the IT, right? That's not
I think one of the crucial factors that enabled me decide was I gave them salary that I was taking home, and I was given a clear answer that you should be prepared to take 1/4 of it if you want to enroll to the program, and that is what helped me decide. So salary should not be a criteria for entering the sector. It should be more about your contribution and the satisfaction you are going to get after that.
That's it. See, the thing is, you should be able to find some meaning to the work that you're doing, right? If you're able to find meaning to your work wherever you are, maybe you are self-content. But if that's troubling you, if what's happening what's happening outside is troubling you, you want to see change in the country, and that's bothering you as an individual, then this is the place. This is the sector. This is a sector where your work and life is blending, right? You really don't look at it both separately, and they pay well, but there is but there's a lot of debates and discussions happens to reach consensus. Work is very intense, much more intense than what you would experience in the corporate sector. Let me say that, having worked enough time in the corporate before moving to the social sector, right? But coming to the sector should not be because of for monetary reasons.
Yes, exactly.
It'll come to you. It'll come to you. It's to mix. See that your passion and profession gets the right mix, right? Some more questions. Let me quickly take that. Thanks, Bruce. Good to know that you are. The concept of no university exam and open discussion classroom is refreshing. Thank you for the interactive session, Aman. Yeah, that's thanks for the point. But see, don't get me wrong. The no university examination.
I would call it evaluation every day.
Instead
of having 100% exam.
Yeah.
But it's more of how much you learned and how well you learned. That is the exam.
That's correct.
Not how much you scored in a test.
Yeah, it won't be the conventional exams that we are usually used to.
We have different formats. We have take-home examination where you could will be given 24 hours to turn in your
even more. Sometimes even a week.
Even a week. Okay, you may have to refer different.
Yes.
Fair enough. So it's not to see. It's not a memory game in a classroom. There could be there could be one component of a class test.
Yeah.
So of the 100%, maybe 25% could be a class test.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there are different ways of
getting understanding things.
So the field work that you did.
Yeah.
So that was probably a group effort.
Yes.
So that's,
it was a group effort in doing the work, but it was individual reflections that we submitted later. So you could have seen the same thing, but two of you would have got a different perspective to it.
Yeah.
So that comes out in your independent report. However, the presentation is a group presentation where we'll say we saw these things and we understood.
Yeah. Great, Arushi. Glad that you loved the session. Krishnamurthy, is there a reservation for any girl? No, there's no reservation as such for anybody in particular. All of them will get what we call weightage, right? Depending on your socio-economic background. So depend where you come from. There are multiple dimensions. It's there on the website. There are multiple dimensions where you would get points, which is eventually added to your test score and the interview score. All the scholarship available, once you get in, all the scholarship available for a single girl child, whatever the government scholarship, all that will get extended. Okay. So it's 6:10. I think we have exceeded our time limit. Both of them need to get back home. And So I'll take Srihari's comments. Danturi, there are no classroom exam where we regulated the answer which was passed away. We don't want to be blaming any of the colonial masters or anything. Let me tell you, 92-93% of the kids in Britain they go to government schools, right? And I mean, you look at most of the developed nations in the country. Majority of them rely on public education system, and as a public education system is a government schooling system, right? And what are we doing as a nation, correct? So why didn't we not pick that up from our colonial masters, if that's the word that we want to use? Why did we not use that when it comes to our health system? NHS in UK has got a system called National Health Service. Even if I need to go to a private doctor, I need to get a certificate from the government doctor telling that, oh, the wait time for this surgery is 6 months. If you can get it done in a private, then you can go. I can't, right? So find average salary. I told you average salary is it's 25 to 30,000, right? For people who complete the program, it's 25 to 30,000. Wonderful. So thank you all for watching this talk and sending those very interesting questions, right? There's a team that worked behind the scenes to set this up.
Yeah.
So thank you.
So
do send in your feedback, right? I mean, either by writing or if you're part of that WhatsApp group that we have created, do send in a feedback whether this helped or what we could do better. So we'll be back again with themes around education, development, public policy and governance, and I look forward to see you all next Friday, 16th December. We'll have Professor Ankur Madan talking about the MA education program. Till then, goodbye and good luck and enjoy your weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.